One America's John Hines caught up with Zinke on Capitol Hill.
Hi. Congressman, I just wanted to ask you, we have a nominee for the Secretary of Defense spot. Mr. Trump has nominated the former General James Mattis. Could you talk, I know you've had some experience with him in theater. Could you talk a little bit about that choice, what you think about it and your experience with him?
Well, I'm delighted that General Mattis is the president's pick. I fought with General Mattis in Fallujah. In my new book, American Commander, I talk about that. And I can tell you he's a warrior. But he also understands the strength of our military as the sergeant, as the chief petty officer, and he clearly understands that we have to make sure that when we put our troops into harm's way, they have the right training, right equipment, and right rules of engagement to win decisively in the field of battle. He understands the frustration today that our troops that are forward deployed don't feel like they have the right tools to win. A lot of frustration out there, and General Mattis also will, I guarantee you, will rip through the bureaucracy. We're too bureaucratic, too top-heavy, and we need to focus on the front line.
This brings me on my next question. I can't resist. He has a very interesting nickname, Mad Dog. Tell me a little bit about how someone might acquire a name like that. You served with him in theater. Talk about that a little bit, sir.
Well, he is Mad Dog. It's really a term of endearment, and that status quo wasn't working in Fallujah. He was the First Marine Division commander, and he was all business. This is what we need to do. Oftentimes we develop, different strategies, different alternatives. Generally, his was the most aggressive, but it was also the alternative that would win. And I'm delighted that President-elect Trump has nominated him, appointed him. I think he's going to be a great Secretary of Defense.
Sounds like he has a command and control presence a little bit. I think Mr. Trump said he was a little bit like George Patton. Is there any analogy there?
Well, he's certainly not politically correct. In this day and age, I think we should look at exceptionalism in performance rather than political correctness. I think we've gone too far in that. And look, the challenges that the Department of Defense faces are real. We're in a worse position around the theater and every theater. And I think in this administration, the military is going to take a more influential role because the damage has been done. Certainly the State Department, first thing is you need to develop a policy and a strategy, and then the military needs to support that strategy. But in a lot of ways we're rudderless without a policy, and then the military can't support a policy that doesn't exist.
You mentioned before that you're a published author now. You've written a book, and I understand that there is some passage in there which contains in which you write about General Mattis.
Well, and this is from my experience in Fallujah with the general. And the book isn't really about me per se. It's about being able to lead what I think are exceptional Americans, and what it was like, to watch really talented, committed Americans, sacrifice. They love their country. And a lot of people ask me what it was like, to lead these elite and magnificent men and women. And the book gives an insight, without giving away secrets, of what it was like just to be around greatness.
And finally, I know that Congress passed a conference report on the National Defense Authorization Act. Talk a little bit about why that's important and why it's a significant milestone at this point in the session of Congress.
Well, it keeps the wheels on the train. It gives our troops a well-deserved small pay raise. But more importantly, what it does is it makes sure that we're able to refit, restock ammunition, make sure our carriers can get in the dry dock, it would not have excessive delays. We're at war. And certainly we can look at reducing the bureaucracy and streamlining the process, but we have to make sure that those troops in harm's way have everything they need. And the NDAA passage today, make sure we kept troop strength, that we're not going to draw down on our teeth, keep our teeth sharp. But it's a giant step forward, and I'm grateful that it was bipartisan, enormous bipartisan vote, and it passed today. I'm looking forward to the signature into law, and we'll make America stronger.
That is Congressman Ryan Zinke of Montana, Whitefish, Montana?
Whitefish, Montana, home of the Bulldogs.
Whitefish, Montana, member of the House Armed Services Committee and commander of Navy SEALs, served in theater in Iraq, and talking about the defense authorization bill, and of course the announcement that Mr. Trump has put forward General Mattis for the position of Secretary of Defense. Back to you in the studio.